What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Gore here, and we are back yet again with another Cast King Tuesday Night Live. And guys, I got to tell you right now, we've got a good show lined up for you. Of course, we're going to be popping off via YouTube as well as via Facebook. And of course, to all my Facebook people as they join in, I'll repeat this here in a minute. You guys are the ones that can share this broadcast the most. We're going to be doing a giveaway here pretty soon. And in honor of tonight's show, we got special guest Scott Canterbury is going to be on here in just a minute. I'm going to bring him on. And he's got a couple reels that he uses on tour that are kind of his personal favorites. So you know what? We're going to give one of those reels away. We'll let Scott pick which one we think we should give away to the fans. Of course, the way that's going to happen, if you guys are just tuning in, watching this either live or in the rebroadcast, by commenting, liking, and sharing is really how we are able to do these giveaways. But by commenting the most, that's how you are going to be found when I go ahead and select a winner on next week's show. So like I said, if you're watching this live, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it may be, or if you're watching this in the rebroadcast, say it's Thursday night or Saturday at 2 a.m., you still have till Tuesday morning of next week to jump in on this giveaway on a reel. And guys, I'm telling you, this is going to be an elite reel. This is going to be a triple-digit retail reel that I'm going to give away for you guys. So Facebook, do me a favor, smash that like and share to your groups. But real quick, let's jump over and see who we got. Of course, YouTube's always getting going before Facebook does. Let's see who we got. Gary E, of course, in the house. We got Doug, our favorite professional skateboarders, in here. We got Creed Garner. How's it going? Bob Oots, what's going on, Bob? Glad to have you. Joe Cool, as usual. Richard Sexton, glad to have you in the house. Who else we got? I'm sure we're going to have Melissa and Jesse Justice joining in here any minute. Let's see here. Chala, what's happening? William Joe Elliott, glad to have you. Vox Guitars again in the house. Robert Green, how are you? Oh, yep, there she is right there. Melissa Justice in the house. New Fishing, glad to have you. Patrick Feely, can't wait to use my Rover. Let's see here. Can't wait to use my Rover Kong combo to get some keeper blackfish. Nice. You're going to have to post pictures when you do. Going to love it. Everybody loves that. Who doesn't love a good photo of some combo slam? All right. Who else we got? How's everything going? Well, you know what, Ray? It's going pretty good. You know, I'm sure you guys are going to ask. I got back into the tournament season. Took some time off this year from tournament fishing. Jumped back into a tournament. Canceled my first one because of all the major floods and the disaster we had here in my hometown that we're facing. Canceled that first tournament. Got into this tournament. Didn't have a great showing. I had no problem catching them. Lost 2 key fish that would have moved me way up the board. But if I had $1 for every pound fish I caught, man, I'd have half my entry fee back. But yeah, it didn't go as good. But hey, I still caught them, just didn't catch the quality that I needed. And you know what? We'll talk to our special guest about stuff like that here in just a minute. So, Scott, if you're out there, putting you on notice, I'm going to be bringing you in here in just a second. Hook it up, 408. AJ back on the set. You know it. Hollering at my friends. Who else we got in here? Steve Yeckel, glad to have you. Rashawn Hunt right here. Now, Rashawn is the self-proclaimed king of frog fishing. So, you know what? Maybe he is. Maybe I think Cliff might have something to argue about that. And maybe even Scott. I tell you, Scott's pretty good with a frog too. Let's see here. Right here. AJ said would get Scott on the show, and here he is. Yes, I said we're going to make it happen. I know that I've been excited to get Scott on here, and you guys are too. So you know what? Without further ado, let's go ahead and get Scott on the screen. Now, Scott's coming off some good wins, and we're going to bring him on right now. Scott Canterbury in the house. Scott, what's going on? Not only are you a Bassmaster Elite, but you're also an NPFL Pro or Elite as of this year. And you know what? This was your first year fishing, correct? In the NPFL?
First year on the NPFLs, yes.
And I think you kind of put in a good showing, if I'm not mistaken here.
I was really fortunate. I ended up having 2 wins this year out of 6 tournaments. So it was a great year, AJ. I appreciate you having me on the show. I know we've been trying to do this for a while, but glad to get the opportunity to be on with you.
Well, you know what? It's definitely great to have you on the show. I mean, I've been following you with, of course, on Scott Martin's page for a long time, and of course, I'm sure you get that a lot. Not that you've ever rode his shirt tail ever. I mean, you've definitely paved your way and made it. But, a lot of people got to know you from the Scott Martin's fishing channel. But you know what? If people get to know you as a person, that's how I got to know you, was off Scott Martin's channel. And you know what? You became my favorite angler quickly from that, just because to me, You're the most real, genuine person. You don't sugarcoat anything. You just get out there, you do you, and you fish. And I think that's awesome that you're so just genuine. So you became one of my favorite anglers. I've been excited to work with you and have you. And of course, when I heard we were going to sign you to KastKing earlier this year, I was like, oh, make it happen, make it happen, make it happen. And it happened. I was like a kid. I was like, oh, we did it. So it was great. And then, of course, got to see you at iCast. You worked in the box with me for a short time, and that was fun. But
yeah, we've had a good time.
It is, but it's great to have you on, especially after, like, I don't know if you can see on your screen, I'm posting the picture of you holding up your first NPFL check as well as championship trophy there on Douglas Lake. And this was earlier in May. How was it to jump in on that tournament and, of course, walk away $100,000 richer from that?
Yeah, I mean, that was really special. I mean, I've been wanting to fish the NPFLs, and the schedule lined up where I could do it last year. And, one of the deciding factors was Logan Martin being on the schedule. Everybody wants to fish a tournament on their home lake, and Logan Martin was my home lake. But, getting our win at Douglas was super special. I mean, that was early in the year. I actually left the Sabine River in Texas, drove all night to get home, and it was like 2 in the morning. And I said, I'm going to get up and go straight to Douglas because practice started the next day. Well, when I got up, I didn't go straight to Douglas. I worked on my boat a little while, and it was like lunch. And I said, well, I'll just wait and go tonight, and I'll get 2 days of practice. I actually ended up getting like a day and a half because of a storm came in the second day of practice. And it sort of fell together. And during the tournament, more than it did during practice, found some areas that had fish in them. And I knew I was going to catch some fish, but the bigger fish sort of came together during the tournament. And that's the way a lot of good tournaments go. So it was super special. I fished 2 tournaments on Douglas. This is just like a trivia thing. And I've only been there twice in my life. I fished 2 tournaments there. And the first tournament was a Bass Open. And David Mullins, I see his jersey back there, ended up winning that tournament, and I finished second.
Oh,
and Mullins is like the best on the lake up there, a local guy. And this was the second time I'd ever been there, and I won. So that's a pretty good lake for me. I've got a first and a second. I think I probably should stay away from it. Either move there and fish a lot or stay away from it completely.
Right? It's like, all right, man, because you go into it with does that ever affect you? That's a great question to ask. Does that ever affect you? So let's say you have another tournament, your third showing coming up at that lake, and you've had a first and a second. Do you get nervous thinking, oh, what if I just bomb? What if I pull an EDT or get back into the tournament fishing and all I catch is dinks in this entire tournament or break off the big ones?
Not really. I mean, because we go to places all the time, but that's a lake that doesn't get a lot of big tournaments. And I don't know what it is about it. The very first time we went there, it was the same time of year. So I went to this tournament thinking, that it might have been a week or 2 later. I can't remember, but it was in May as well. And the lake was low and the fish were out deep. And every fish I caught in that tournament, that open that I finished second, was probably 18 to 30 foot deep. I mean, I caught some of them super deep, out in like 26, 28 foot of water. And this time the lake was high and flooded, and I caught them all up shallow, flipping bushes and stuff. So I don't know what it is about the lake, but I mean, it's been good to me for sure. So I would be up for another one there, and I'm sure we'll hit another one sooner or later.
That's awesome. Now, what else is awesome is I basically told you, that you're one of my favorite anglers and this and that. And of course, we're excited to have you. But, watching the comment section tonight, of course, I've had just about everybody on this wall and then some on my show as special guests. And of course, we always get great receptions. Of course, Brent Chapman is a fan favorite. Everybody loves Cliff, James Elam, Skeet Reese. You're in good company. But I got to tell you, in the comment section, I can't not see. I don't know if you can see it, but I keep posting it on here. You are getting just comment after comment after comment after comment of people going, hey, welcome, Scott. Scott, so glad to have you on here. So glad to see you. So I can tell you right now, if you didn't feel the love from the KastKing fans before, or you didn't know if you had that much of a huge following in the KastKing world, we are excited. Not only when you sign, of course, you're using the gear, but glad to have you on the show. I know that I've been excited to have you on here. It's just great to have you. Now, with that said, let's get into some questions I wrote down for you. And then, of course, I'm sure we're going to have some questions from the fans here. So first question, what was it in your, you used to work like construction and plumbing and things like that. And of course, you've been just like just about everybody else that's ever fished a bass fishing tournament. What was the deciding factor that made you hang it up as a blue collar man and go big time? Like, I mean, because that's a gamble, and it's got to be scary as all can be.
It really is, but it was not too bad for me. I had a small construction company for years, and I sort of gave that up when I started traveling and fishing because I just couldn't be away and have a job going on and guys working. So I sort of gave that up and went to work for Plum One, and that was probably like the best move that I ever did. I wouldn't be fishing today without them, without their help. But anyhow, I went to fishing, working for Plum One as a plumber, and Barry Isbell was the owner, and he was also my fishing partner when I was at home. So we fished, and I qualified for the FLW a time or two, fishing like the Southeast region. It's Strins or Everstarts. Now it's the Toyotas and stuff. And I didn't really think nothing about it. I just kept working, and I just enjoyed fishing that level of tournaments. And then one year, I think I finished second in points one year. In 2007, we decided to fish the Central Division. It was all lakes that we had never been on. Went to like Bull Shoals, Lake of the Ozarks, all out in the Central United States. And I ended up finishing second in the points out there that year on lakes that I'd never even been to. And like Barry just like said, man, you need to try it, And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm newly married, got a 3-year-old. I said, I don't know if I could do this or not, and I need to work. So ended up, he wanted to fish as a co-angler. He ended up helping me out. I worked for about 3 years full time when I was at home. I mean, we'd go fish a tournament. We'd drive to Arkansas and fish an FLW. He'd fish as a co-angler, come back on Sunday, or if we made the cut, come back Monday. Tuesday morning, we was back to laying pipe again, digging ditches and laying pipe. So I did that for about 3 years, and it ended up building up a few sponsors while I was still working and stuff. But without their help, I would have never done it or even tried it. And it's just something that worked out for me. I've got a couple of jobs that I'm piddling with right now, just construction during the off season, and I still enjoy doing that too. But fishing's always been my passion, and I'm sure, anything in the outdoors has really been my passion, hunting and fishing. But I'm sure that, there's a lot of people out there. Seems like a lot of people that I was a millwright worker at U.S. Steel for Birmingham Steel Erectors. And that group of guys were all fishermen that I hung out with. We had a club out there, and we all fished club tournaments together. So anybody that works outdoors or loves outdoors, whether it be hunting or fishing, it usually goes hand in hand, and you do both. So Something that I'm blessed to be able to do. I've been doing it for a long time now, and haven't had to hold down a full-time job. I've still worked some during the off season, but I haven't had to hold down a full-time job except for bass fishing in a good while.
That's freaking awesome. Now, my refrigerator is making an awful noise. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'll check that out here in a minute. It just started doing that. Good Lord. But anyhow, we'll go through it and see if that don't quit. If not, I'll have to jump up and see what's going on. But anyhow, you had made a comment about you still do a couple construction jobs here and there, different things like that, in and out of the season off of that. Do you ever go into somebody's home or business or wherever you're doing this job and you're working for a customer, and not that you'd go in there like, oh, do you know who I am? I'm at the peak of the food chain when it comes to elite fishing. But do you ever get people that just have no clue that they have realistically one of the greatest fishermen of our time right now doing construction work for them?
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, like sometimes it happens if I'm doing something for, maybe the husband's not around or something for a wife or a family. And when the husband may come around and I'll get to talking to him, and they may know me or something, but a lot of people don't. I mean, everybody around here, around where I live, I'm living in a small town in St. Clair County. So it seems like everybody around here pretty much knows what I do, or especially if I'm driving my truck or something. But other than that, I mean, if I get away from here and start doing stuff, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm just a normal. No matter whether I'm here or there, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just a normal guy. I'm never going to change.
That's it. And that's one reason why you're one of my favorites. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you in the comment section, if you guys have a question for Scott, go ahead and throw them out there. We'll take some questions from the fans here and there in between some of the stuff that we've got going on. But I've got a question that lines up right with that whole fear of, taking that gamble, kind of getting away from the day job, jumping in there. Was there ever a time that you almost regretted like, oh God, did I absolutely make a mistake and I need to hang it up? And you almost have you ever been at that point where you almost just threw in the towel and just went back to construction?
For sure. I've never been scared to leave and go back. It was something that I knew that it's not an easy industry. There's not it's different now than it was when I started, for sure, with the high school and the college fishing, and there's more and more tournaments and more pros out there now than there were back in the day. But it's not easy to get by. It's not easy to do this. So it's a lot of work for your sponsors. And that's something that I had to learn to do. But I think it was I started in 2008. I won Rookie of the Year. I had a really, really good year in 2008, like one of my best years ever. 2010 was a sort of a tough year for me for some reason. And I think it was 2010. And it came down to the last tournament was at Gunnersville. I had roomed with Jay Ellis since I started. In 2008, I roomed with Jay Ellis. And I sort of just followed his lead, in what to do, because I didn't have any idea. When I fished the Strands, or what is Toyotas now, when we had a tournament, if it was in May the 12th or something, we went to the tournament May the 8th, and we'd start practicing for 2 or 3 days and have the tournament. Well, I sort of thought that's the way it was in big tournaments. But the last tournament of the year, after having 2 really good years, that I've been struggling that year, and the last tournament of the year was at Gunnersville. And I'd already told my wife, I said, this is the last tournament of the year. It's been a bad year. I said, I'm just going to go back to plumbing if I don't do good at Gunnersville. If I don't get a check at Gunnersville, I'm just going to hang it up. And being close, I said, well, I'm going to go up there before it goes off limits. And when I went up there, before it went off limits, I could name half the guys. It was just like the tournament was going on. Every truck in our field was in the parking lot, or half of them was in the parking lot. I didn't know everybody went and pre-fished like that. Back in 2008, 9, and 10, I didn't do any pre-fishing. And I didn't know that people did that and put that much time in. It's changed a lot because everybody does it now a lot. But back then, you could even get help. And, I remember going up there, and I lived an hour and a half away, or an hour and 20 minutes. So I just go up there and fish all day. And I would see some of the best fishermen on tour riding around with some of the guides on the lake. And I'd see a guide with one guy that I knew, and then 2 hours later, he'd be with another guy. And I was like, man, this is unbelievable. No wonder I'm not doing good. I'm not getting out there and doing it. I'm not trying hard enough, basically. It was all legal. So, they were just working harder than I was. And then the rules came out, in the past 10 years where information rules and all that's really, right. I think that's helped and made it a more even playing field no matter what. Sometimes it's hard to police. So I think NPFL next year, we made a rule now, and it's going to a 30-day off limits. And you can get some information. And, that's the way FLW was back in the day. It had a 30-day off limits. And it's hard. I tried to get help some tournaments after that. And I remember the worst tournament that I've ever had, I got the best help I've ever had, too, and just slaughtered them 30 days before the tournament. And then you go back and you can't catch a fish because you're trying to catch somebody else's fish. So yeah, I think that it's best for me to just do Scott's thing and do it the way I know how to do it. And it works for some people, and it just doesn't for me. But, I learned a valuable lesson in that tournament. I ended up doing good in the tournament. I caught a really big bag the second day. I was down on myself, and I said, I'm just going to go out the next day, and I'm going to put a big rod in my hand, and I'm going to flip all day. And I caught a big bag the second day, and I made a huge comeback, and I actually tied Larry Nixon. Of all people, I tied Larry Nixon for 50th place, which was a $10,000 check. But the check went to who had the biggest bag or 2 days. And I had that big bag on the second day, and I got $10,000, and Larry Nixon, the legend of the sport, he didn't get a check in that tournament, but he's taken plenty of my money before. But anyhow, I got a check in that tournament, so I kept fishing after that. And that was the closest I ever came to giving it up.
Oh man,
Since then, I've never thought about giving it up.
I was gonna say, I'm sure now you realize like you're gonna have to. It's a lot's gonna have to change in your world for you to give it up now, especially with the success you've had. I mean, you've had some anglers of the year. You've had quite a few quite a few. You've brought in some skrill. You brought in some fed.
I've been really fortunate, really blessed over the years to have some good years, and I mean it never comes easy, and sometimes it comes when you don't expect it. So, I mean, it's a platform that I've been blessed to have, and I've got to go. Like I did a high school boat captaining for 4 or 5 years around here. I've started 2 or 3 of these high school teams. I've got to go speak at numerous colleges and numerous high school fishing teams and talk to the youth of the industry. And that's where it's at. I mean, I'm not going to be one teaching people anything in 10 or 15 more years. It's the youth. Those guys are the ones that's going to be carrying this industry on and on for a long time. So being able, having that opportunity and the platform to go talk to these kids and maybe help 1 or 2 of them on the way has made it all worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that's truly what it is about. So now, giving back to the community, I mean, that's fantastic. Which, speaking of the community, the KastKing community's got a couple questions, which we'll take a couple of those and jump back on it. So Rashawn Hunt, which is he's a big player here in the KastKing family. He wants to know, Scott, what's the biggest bass you've ever caught on a frog? And we know you love to power fish. So what do you got, Scott?
I do. I haven't caught. I mean, I've caught like at Gunnersville, and it's been a long time. But I caught an 8-11 on a frog at Gunnersville. That's the biggest bass I've ever caught on a frog. Caught a bunch of down in Okeechobee, all over in Florida, but I've never caught one bigger than that. I've caught a bunch of 6 and 7 pounders, but he may have caught a 10 or 12 pounder on a frog. There's not a better bite out there than a frog bite. And, you know, that's one thing that I love doing. I just fished the Ultimate Angler Tournament, and I went and threw a frog till my arm gave out. But, you know, that's one thing about KastKing. That deadbolt reel right there, everybody see there's something weird about it. There's something different about it, you know. No star drag on it. There's no drag on that reel. And that reel has really helped me out. I caught 23 pounds, 22 or 23 pounds at Okeechobee. There you go, right there. But I caught 22 or 23 pounds day 3 at Okeechobee, and I moved from like 41st up to 11th this year at Okeechobee, all on a frog, all on that reel. Day 1 of the tournament, I caught an 8-pounder on that reel on a swim jig too. So Okeechobee was really good, but that deadbolt has, I mean, as far as throwing any swim jigs or frogs or anything like that, that deadbolt reel from KastKing is one that's my favorite reel ever for frog fishing. With that no drag, it just helps your hookup ratio so much.
I use the deadbolt for like,
and you get one buried up and you can just winch him out there. It does. There's no, if you turn the handle, line's coming towards you.
Yeah, it's the bulldozer of
it is.
reels. It is. So I use it for throwing Magnum spoons too, as well. So it's,
oh yeah, I can see that.
Crazy. So now, Scott, what's your go-to lure? So like, say you're going into it blind and you're just going to be thrown out at these random lakes and you can't pre-fish. You have no idea. Let's just say you got 4 lakes that they're going to throw you into the NPFL, and they're not going to tell you anything about it. What's the go-to that you're going to put on that deck of that boat that you'll be confident, like, okay, Mystery Lake, this 100%. Right here, I have faith in?
That's an easy question for me. But I mean, I'm a jig fisherman. A half-ounce Canterbury flipping jig would be one of them from Dirty Jigs Tackle. And I mean, I use a jig everywhere I go, no matter what. A jig is probably the most versatile bait you can use. You know, that you can use it 30 foot deep, 1 foot deep. You can fish it suspended in the water column. There's so much you can do with a jig. But Scott Canterbury flipping jig from Dirty Jigs Tackle, half-ounce, either black and blue or green pumpkin, Canterbury crawl, something like that would be my go-to bait. I use a lot of Dirty Jigs Tackle jigs. I mean, I use a Matt Herron jig a lot, a Luke Clausen jig. Caught a bunch of my fish at Logan Martin casting a Luke Clausen jig, compact jig, and some brush piles. So I'm a jig fisherman, 100%, and that's an easy question for me to answer.
Excellent. Glad to throw one out there like that jig, man. That's where it's at. When in doubt, throw a jig, I tell you.
That's me. It's a big fish bait. I will tell you that I learned, it didn't take me long fishing the pro level to learn. Like when I went pro, like I had 4 or 5 boxes of jigs and 1 box of crankbaits. I had my square bills on top, 8 or 10 of them, medium divers, and then I had like 3 deep divers at the bottom that I never fished. And we'd go to the TVA or somewhere and I'd get my teeth kicked in. I'd go flip docks at Kentucky Lake and catch 16 pounds and I'd be in 80th after day 1, you know. So it didn't take me long to learn to use my electronics and get offshore on the TVA or really anywhere, but to get away from the bank. Because here in Alabama, I mean, I grew up fishing in Alabama, the Coosa River, the Warrior River. I didn't grow up fishing Garnersville, but any of these river systems in Alabama, even I'd go to Smith Lake or Lake Martin, I'd go way up the river and I'd flip a jig all day and you'd catch 2 big ones and a limit and you'd come in and you'd have a chance to win the tournament. So you could do that, especially fishing 1-day tournaments. But when you get to traveling and stuff, you got to cover water and find a lot of areas that have fish in them and quality fish. So you got to dissect a whole lake in 3 days of practice, and you can't do it when you're flipping a jig. You can dissect an area in 1 day, but you can't dissect a lake in 3 days. So I learned a lot in the first 3 or 4 years of professional fishing. I took some really good whoopings, and you know, if it was springtime or pre-spawn or spawn and the fish was on the bank, I usually could hold my own no matter what. But when it got offshore and stuff, I took some bad beatings back then, but I've learned those electronics a good bit since then.
Now, Ray has got a question for you. Are you a fan of a lipless crankbait? I love a lipless crankbait. I think it's a fantastic search bait.
You know, I think it's a great bait. Probably caught more fish than any baits out there, except for maybe a Cinco or something. But yeah, I use a lipless. If there's a vegetation lake, I'm using a lipless a lot, especially pre-spawn vegetation. But a lipless is not just for vegetation. It works great in the fall when fish are schooling on small bait fish and things like that as well. So I'm either from spawn, say 60-degree water temp or colder, and I'm using a lipless, or in the fall of the year. If it's summertime and times like that, I never touch it. But pre-spawn, I definitely have a lipless tied on, and then when fish are schooling, I'll have another one tied on.
A little bit cooler weather. Okay, that's something to think about. Now, Scott, what brought you to KastKing? I mean, you've got your pick of the litter. There's quite a few companies out there, I'm sure, that are, especially after your 2 back-to-back, I shouldn't say back-to-back, but your 2 really good finishes, you know, taking home the W in the NPFL this year 2 different times. What brought you to KastKing? Because I mean, you've had great success before.
I had a reel sponsor for several years, and then the last couple of years, I just tried everything. Like I tried some Shimano, some Daiwa, some KastKing, and I really just got to where I like the way the reels fished. I mean, a lot of it is the drag system. I think the way I like to fish, the power fishing I like to do, and all these reels have great drag systems. But like a lot of our reels have up to like a 18-pound drag.
Pretty much.
Whereas like a high-end Shimano, most of them will have a 12-pound drag or something.
Yeah, 12, 13.
And when you really winch down on a fish flipping and you set the hook, when I set the hook, I don't want my drag to just slip from the time I hit him till here, because you don't get enough penetration. And that's one thing that I really liked about the reels. Castability was great. And I mean, you know, when I got to talking to the guys, yourself included, at KastKing, it seemed like treated me like family, and that's one thing that I really liked about it.
That's it. I always call it I'm from the Southwest, so I call it the KastKing Familia. But yeah, I mean, it is once you get in there and you
it's like I knew everybody forever, or they knew me forever, because we just come up and start talking like we were best friends. It was fun. It's been great for me, really. It has.
Well, we love having you for sure. So now I'm going to ask you, what are your go-to KastKing reels? And there's 2 we talked about earlier. I'm going to let you tell the fans. We'll do it this. Actually, let me go ahead and I'll set it up a different way. But what are your go-to reels? And then I'll go into that segue of our giveaway. But what are your go-to KastKing reels that are your favorite?
Well, we'll start with, the deadbolt. That's one that, like, in that tournament at Garnersville the other day, I had 6 of these rigged up. I had 3 punching reels, 2 frog reels, and then a topwater rigged up just on a dead boat, which is, it's unbelievable. That one reel to do just about anything you want to do, but it's more of a, power fishing, braided line. I was throwing a buzz bait on it, and then I had 2 frogs on it, and then I had 3 rigged up for punching. Big line, big rod, something that you don't want to worry about breaking your line, or you want to, when you hook a fish, you want to get him into the boat as fast as you can. The dead boat is one of my favorites, has become like an art. It's always on the deck for sure.
Yeah.
Another reel, and this may be, I mean, it's hard to say. We got so many good reels, but this may be my favorite reel that KastKing has, is the Mega Jaw Elite. And this is the 8-to-1 gear ratio. They have a red reel that's a 9. It's a little bit faster. I like this reel. It has a flipping feature on it. And I used to use the flipping feature, and I like it a lot, but I haven't used it much anymore. We're used to pitching instead of flipping more. So those are 2 of my favorites. At Douglas Lake, I was trying to cover a lot of water and flip. Covering water and flipping is something that I did a lot in my younger career at FLW, mainly when you're getting around like pre-spawn and spawn fishing that you can't see. Blind fishing for bedding fish, basically. And I'm wanting to present a bait, soak it really good, but my boat's moving because I'm trying to cover as much water as I can, but I don't want to fish fast. But when I get ready to reel the bait in, I want my bait in to make another pitch. The less time my bait's coming to me or in the air, the more opportunity I have of catching a fish. So the Speed Demon, and especially the pitching and flipping Speed Demon, the shallow spool Speed Demon, I had 25-pound fluorocarbon rigged on 2 of those at Douglas when I won, pitching willow trees and flooded, I call them trash piles, sawdust piles in the back of pockets. And that reel is a beast in itself. The Speed Demon pitching and flipping reel is one of my favorites. They're all really, really good. And it's amazing. We came out with one at ICAST. I actually won best of show at ICAST. And that is the MGTI, which is the magnesium frame, just like the MG12, but it's a titanium spool reel. It's the first one on the market. Guys would be checking this out. They're not available like retail, like Mark's Outdoors isn't selling them yet or anything. But, man, a titanium spool that just, like, you can't even feel that on my finger. It's amazing how light that is. A titanium spool is going to make it so much better for fishing real small, real lightweight baits, like smaller crankbaits, lightweight pitching, anything that you want to do. That reel, I've been using this reel they sent me one. It was before the tournament at Gunnersville. So I've had one about 3 weeks or so. Used it a ton. It's got a super big star drag on it. And, a lot of people complain about a star drag because when you set the hook, it may get in the way or something. But the way this is designed, it curves in toward the frame of the reel. It has not gotten away one bit at all, but it's so easy to get your fingers on and adjust it like any way you want to. I can hold a reel like fishing a jig with my left hand and just spin the star drag by doing that and just pick up the slack, work it up, and then pick up the slack on the way down. So the MGTI is a super special reel. That's going to be one that everybody's going to want. All the reels are really good. This touched on a few of the ones with things that I really like about them. So, the Deadbolt, the Mega Jaw Elite, the Speed Demon, and the MGTIs, 4 of my favorites for sure.
Now, okay, so I'll let you answer this question real quick, and then we'll figure out there's 2 between the Deadbolt and the Mega Jaws Elite. We're going to give one of those 2 reels away, and I'll let you pick which one you think we should give away on next week's show from the people watching live in the rebroadcast. They got to comment in order to win. But Gary E. here has got a question for you. On your reels, do you run braid with a leader? Or do you just go straight fluoro? Or
no, I have gotten to where I do that sometimes, a lot, really. All of my spinning reels. I mean, that's another thing. KastKing, we make some super spinning reels. I mean, and that's one thing that I use all the time on all of my spinning reels. They're downstairs rigged up. Every one of them, I'll have anywhere from 8 to 12-pound braid most of the time. I got one rigged up with 16 if I'm going to be wacky worming docks or something like that. But from 8 to 12-pound braid, and I use a fluorocarbon leader on all them. Flipping and pitching, most of the time I don't. But in Florida, the past, I guess, 4 years, maybe, I'd have to go back and look, but there was a tournament where I was running, I don't want to say where lake I was going to because we're going there next year. But there was a tournament where I was going and I was fishing lily pads and I was flipping with braid and I just wasn't getting as many bites. I'd pick up another rod that was rigged pretty much the same, but I had 17-pound fluorocarbon and I'd get bites, but I couldn't get them out of the pads. So I ended up tying a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader to braid, and that was the first time I did that. And I caught an 8-12 or something the first day of the tournament. And I did end up, I learned a lot, and you end up using a little bit softer rod to give you a little bit of give because you don't have any give with the braid. I went to like a swim jig rod instead of a heavy flipping stick. And then, you know, you're dragged. But you like when you hook a fish with 30-pound or 40-pound braid on, it's like you can control him a lot more than you can with 20-pound fluorocarbon. So I was getting those bites that I could get on the fluorocarbon, but I was able to land them a lot easier with that fluorocarbon leader. And I just use the FG knot all the time now. Back then, I really didn't even know how to tie it. I was tying a double uni, but now I use an FG anytime I'm tying a leader.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that. Okay, so now that people know how you got them rigged up, which one did you think that you want to give the fans? Did you want to give them? And I'm getting a lot of mixed people in the comments saying we want to see that deadbolt. I think I'm getting more people wanting the deadbolt than the Mega Jaws Elite. But which one out of the Mega Jaws Elite or the deadbolt should we give the people on next week's show?
I'll tell you. I mean, I think for the uniqueness of it, I would do the deadbolt. Just for the uniqueness of it, with no drag system and the castability of that reel. That reel will cast a frog or a swim jig further than any reel that I've probably ever owned. And it's such a good reel that people will fall in love with it. I mean, for the everyday fisherman or anything, I would have said that Mega Jaw Elite, which is like one of my that's probably my favorite all-around reel. But for the uniqueness of it, to give away one, I'd give away one that nobody on the market can compare it to, and that's the deadbolt.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's definitely. I got people going here. Of course, they want me to give away both. And you know what? I'll tell you what. If you guys share this, and we get a combined views of, let's say, 6,000 views between YouTube and Facebook by this time next Tuesday, I'll give away both.
That's pretty awesome.
So you guys got to give
away one of each.
You're watching live or read broadcast. Give away both.
I made a post, so guys, my guys better get on there and start helping out. And let's
get to it. Get to it. Look at this already. And I always do a coin toss. I'll get finalists. So I'll pick two names, and then I do a coin toss live on the air, and people are already picking. The people that they're already picking which one they want. So now, Scott, before I let you go, I've had you on here for at least a half an hour now. And of course, you've been waiting patiently for over an hour since I've had you in the background.
I'm good. Hey, I'm good anytime. It doesn't matter, but I'm whatever we need.
And this is why we love you, man. Do you have any advice out there for anybody that's looking to whether they're just a tournament angler, weekend warrior, anything fishing? What would you give to somebody coming up in the world and fishing?
I mean, there's tons of avenues to learn now with YouTube and the internet and everything, but nothing compares to time on the water. I mean, if you can go to a creek, a pond, a lake, or anything, time on the water beats everything. I mean, there was no telling how many people. I grew up in a small town, and I would ride a bicycle when I was in school on the main road down to go every pond. I had permission to fish every pond within 2 or 3 miles and every creek that you could get to. And then in high school, when I could drive, me and my buddies, I had buddies, Christian Nichols and Shane Mitchell. We had fishing rods in the truck and in our cars. We would stop at any overpass that had water going under it. There's a ditch that runs under the 411 coming from Ashley Manor from a pond, and there's nothing. It's like a swamp on the other side. And no telling how many bass we caught under that overpass off of 411. So time on the water, you can't beat it with anything. And I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the lake. You don't have to be in a boat. But, you know, I work with a lot of high school kids and kids getting into fishing. And, you know, I mean, a spinning rod, spinning reel is great, and you got to have them nowadays. But learning how to fish a bait caster, learning the feel of your bait. So that's something you have to be on the water to do. I mean, I can remember back fishing in a John boat in ponds, and we'd throw a purple worm, you know, purple firetail worm, 1/4 ounce weight out, and when it hit, you'd sort of say 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's 5 foot deep right there. You know, you throw it over here, no man, it's shallow. It's only 2 foot deep over there. A lot of people throw it out there and not ever pay attention. But no, being able to feel everything your bait's doing, whether it's in a brush pile or on a rock, or if it's in a fish's mouth. So that's something you can't beat. With time on the water beats everything. But, you know, I mean, we made those high school kids, they'd be, if it set up places in their garage or on their deck where they could pitch and flip to a coffee can, put a coffee can underneath a couch or something, and make your bait go up under the couch into the coffee can, you know. So anytime you can put that rod in your hand, Cast King reel on the end of it, and learn how to make a better cast, you're better off.
Yeah, that's it. Love that plug right there. Yeah, and that's so true. I mean, every little thing about time on the water, and it kind of instantly like made me think like, and I love my co-angler, you know, and I'm going to throw him under the bus a little bit on this one. I love you, Ricky. Sorry, human forklift. I'm throwing you under the bus. Like we fish all the time together religiously. We were fishing this last tournament together, and we were crossing an area like, all right, let's go hit this point over here before we bounce to a new spot. And we had to cover a little bit of water with the trolling motor. And I'm casting and I'm fishing, and I kind of look back, and he's just sitting there holding his rod, dangling his lure above the boat. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, well, I thought we were going over there. I'm like, we are. I was like, but we ain't firing the big motor. We're cruising. I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, keep that.
That's right.
If that bait ain't in the water, you ain't going to catch nothing, period. That's it. Like,
that's right. I don't know how many times I've caught a fish that may have wanted to try, or even one big fish flipping boat docks. And I'll put the trolling motor on high, going from one dock to the next, whether it be 100 foot or 40 yards or whatever down the bank. But pitching that jig as I'm going from one dock to the next at a seawall or at a boat ramp or at anything, sometimes it just be open water. And hit the bottom, reel it in, pitch it again. You hit the bottom, and it swims off to the right, and it might be the biggest fish you catch all day. But you're never going to catch it if your bait's not in the water.
And I'm sure you know this too. Like we're saying, you've got that trolling motor on high, and this is more or less for other people watching. Maybe click something in their head. How many times have you been reeling in a bait? Like, all right, let's get it out of there, get it back into a strike zone, get it out of there. And how many times you're ripping it could be a drop shot, you know what I mean? That you've just sat there and soaked for 20 minutes, dead sticking, and all of a sudden you burn that thing back to the boat, and right as it's getting to the boat, you watch that follower just dart, you know, and then half the time they slam it, you know, and it's just you never know. You never know.
You need to pick up a moving bait when that happens. I mean, there's a lot of things you really have to pay attention to all the time. I mean, and fishing is, you know, we say it's day by day, but it's really minute by minute or hour by hour. I mean, there's bite windows every day. The wind could change and you don't know it. I mean, when you realize what really happened and made you went 3 hours without getting a bite, and then all of a sudden you're starting to get bit, something changed.
Right.
Current at the lake, at the generation schedule, at the dam, something changed. Could be, you know, barometric pressure started dropping or something like that. But that's a lot that goes into fishing, and it's all mental. And like you start getting bites and you think you'd already fished your best stuff, go back to it. I mean, because the fish were there. I mean, you got to go back to it. And the most important thing in tournament fishing, and it took me a while, really, not really. I mean, I guess I've always been that way because I've always been wide open when it comes to fishing. But I had to drive this into those high school kids' brains. And a lot of those kids are just, they wasn't really ready. They wasn't ready. You know, they wanted to go fishing.
Right.
They wanted to fish when it was 70 degrees and pretty outside. You got to be prepared. You got to have boots. You got to have socks. You got to have gloves. You got to have everything, whether it could be snowing and we got a tournament, you're going to fish all day.
Right. Yeah.
But the last 30 minutes or last hour of the tournament is just as important as the first. So every cast at the end of the day has to be just as focused as they were at the beginning of the day. They were all fired up and ready in the morning when you started. Every one of them was fired up and ready, and they're making great casts. They're paying attention. Everything they do is on point. At 11 or 12 o'clock, when they're not getting bites, they start lollygagging and not paying attention. And all of that, if you want to be a successful tournament angler, I mean, and it's a lot into it. Everybody's not a tournament angler. Some people just want to do it for fun, and that's great.
Right.
I love fun fishing, but I like to learn every time I go. And I guess I'm that competitive. I don't want the fish to beat me. I want to catch them every time I go. Absolutely. I want to catch them every time I go. I like to catch. If I'm crappie fishing, I want to catch my limit. I want to bring home my limit. I don't want to leave. If I can catch 30 is my limit, and I get to 25, I don't want to leave. I want to stay till I get my 30. And I guess it's just the way that's instilled into my brain or something. But the last hour of the tournament is just as important as the first.
Yeah, it absolutely. I mean, that's 100% right. I mean, Scott, I mean, we've been on the air now for over 45 minutes, and I got to say, you know, you've dropped some really good. I mean, it's not rocket science, you know, no. But it's important information that people just don't think of exactly, and they do, and you got to swallow it and make it.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot goes into it, really.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And I mean, you can't. I mean, and I can plug everybody. I mean, I'm just sitting there looking. I've got a gill shirt on, and you can't plug everybody, but everything you do out there, especially like the weather control. I keep talking about the weather, but you got to be comfortable no matter what you're doing. If it's 100 degrees, you can't be out there all day in the sun with no shirt on or short sleeves on, and you're going to be burnt from here down, and you're not going to be paying attention because you're going to be fried and you're going to be hurting. So, I mean, it's all about being comfortable, and you got to have good equipment. I mean, from my reels to my line to my hooks to my clothing. I mean, I'm as comfortable on the water as I can be right now, and it's something that I've been doing a long time. To
hydration, you know what I mean? Protein, fuel, like everything. There's a whole game plan to it, you know, and you got to obsess. You have to obsess about it, or you're not going to get there. But I mean, that's great stuff. So, Scott, before I turn you loose, what's next for Scott Canterbury in 2025 and moving into 2026?
You know, I mean, I've already been hunting a little bit. I've actually tagged out in Kentucky a little bit, and I've had some great encounters, but I'm going back up there to work again, do a little work with the guys at Whitetail Heaven, and have a bunch of hunters coming in for gun season. I'll be up there for that. And then, I got a tournament next weekend on Wilson, which is another TVA lake that I haven't fished much. An Alabama Bass Trail 100, which is like the best team trail around. I fish with a buddy of mine from Florida, Terry Stevens, and we get to spend a lot of time. I love fishing team tournaments together, and we'll have a good time at that one. Hopefully, we'll come out with us a check in that anyhow. But hunting and fishing, I've got 2 or 3 jobs going on right now. I'm remodeling a house, so just staying busy right now, getting ready for 2026. I got a new boat should be showing up. My new boat should be showing up here in a week or 2, and I'll be keeping everybody up to date on how that's getting rigged. But I'm looking forward to starting the year. It's going to be another busy year. This year was a really, really busy year. But it seems like when I stay busy and I fish and I fish and I fish, I seem to fish a little bit better. And so hopefully we can do it again next year.
Yeah, you're keeping that pencil sharp. Now, did you sell your 2025 boat yet?
I haven't sold it yet. I got that one more tournament. I've got somebody that's buying it, yes, but I haven't. Okay. They haven't picked it up yet.
A deal has been arranged.
A deal has been. That's right.
Nice. Well, Scott,
deer guts are good catfish bait. I never tried that. I might have to try that.
Something tells me you've got access to plenty of deer guts. I'm sure.
So. Well, we can get some. Yeah, that's for sure. If I can shoot that Matthew straight enough, we can get some.
Yes. So now, how can people follow you? Before I turn you loose, how can people follow you? Whether it's from, I don't know if you have a TikTok, a YouTube, an
Instagram, Facebook. Almost everything is Canterbury Fishing.
Canterbury Fishing, excellent.
Yep. And you can go Scott Canterbury or Canterbury Fishing, you'll find it. But it's Canterbury Fishing is what I do. All of my posting, like for anything fishing related, and pretty much everything else. Right now, it's a little bit of Alabama football. We did a little bit of that this weekend, and they were looking good. So looking forward to seeing the rest of the Tide this year, and I'll be posting a little bit of that as well.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thank you very much for coming on. I'm going to go ahead and turn you loose and let you get back to life with the wife. So
I appreciate it, AJ. thanks for the time, and looking forward. Hopefully we can get back on again one day if you'll have me.
Anytime I can, I'd love to have you. So,
all right, thank you, AJ.
Have a good night, Scott. Take it easy. Scott Canterbury, guys. That guy, I tell you what, he's such a class act. You know what I mean? The little bit that I've been able to work with him and talk to him, he's such a genuinely. That conversation right there that we just had. Every conversation you ever have with Scott is 100% genuine. He'll give you the brass tacks. He'll give you the straight up, the 411, how he sees it, as he sees it, and no sugarcoating to it. You know, I mean, he's just a classy dude. So hopefully we can get one of them Canterbury jerseys up here in my collection here in the near future. That would be a huge win for me. And of course, I think you guys probably all like to see it too. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Now, I did have on the schedule 2 new products to show you guys tonight. And of course, USPS showed that those were my samples that were out for delivery today. But apparently something happened on the mail truck and they failed to get delivered. So unfortunately, I don't have any 2 new products to show you. I'm going to go ahead and reschedule those 2 new products for next week and possibly can join them with some other new products that we're going to be showing next week. But I will be giving away a deadbolt reel for you guys, courtesy of KastKing and Scott Canterbury as a guest, guys. So guys, if you're following us or you're not following us on Instagram or TikTok, it's going to be KastKing USA. Of course, check us out definitely on TikTok. We always have TikTok Lives, TikTok Shop. Lots of great deals going there. We have a secondary page you can follow on Instagram called KastKing Community. And then, of course, if you're watching right here via Facebook or YouTube, you already know, just make sure you click that like or subscribe bell right there. For when we go live, you get hooked up on a chance to win any of the good freebies, knowledge, and good things coming from KastKing. Guys, that's going to do it for me. Until next time, which will be next Tuesday night, I'm out of here. You guys have a great night. God bless you, and we'll see you next Tuesday. I'm out.